Someone asked me for directions yesterday, and my brain instantly deleted the entire English language.
Wait, you speak English for a living.
Exactly. But for 10 seconds, I just pointed down the street and smiled nervously.
That is the ultimate speaking panic. Your mind is full of words, but none of them escape.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Everyday English Learning, comfortable conversations for your daily life.
Hi there, I'm Jake.
And I'm Lily. Today is about how to have an English conversation without fear.
So many people know that exact feeling. You study for months, but one sudden question makes you freeze completely.
It is incredibly frustrating. And that freezing reaction is almost never a grammar problem. It is usually an emotional wall.
Right. When the social pressure hits, the fear of making a tiny mistake locks your vocabulary away.
This episode will show you how to lower that pressure and speak naturally, even when you feel nervous.
You do not need to catch every word today either. Just relax, listen to the rhythm, and follow along.
We will explore why this panic happens and how to feel completely safe when you make a normal speaking mistake.
And later, in meaning moments, we will share exact phrases to use when your mind goes totally blank.
Knowing you have the right words to rescue a conversation can actually stop the fear before it begins.
That is a relief to hear, but I am still thinking about those directions. Did the person finally find their way?
They did find their way, eventually, but I felt completely ridiculous for the rest of the day.
You probably went home and decided you needed to study even more vocabulary.
Exactly. That is the common assumption. When that freezing reaction happens, you immediately blame your English skills.
It is a logical response. If you cannot find the words, it feels exactly like a language problem.
But think about it. 10 minutes before that person asked me for directions, I knew all those words perfectly.
Right. Left, right, and straight are not advanced concepts for you.
So studying more grammar would not have helped me in that exact moment on the street.
Why does the brain do that? It just hides everything you worked so hard to study.
It happens because of social pressure. When a stranger asks an unexpected question, your brain actually sees a threat.
Oh, that makes sense. It triggers a basic survival instinct to simply freeze.
Yes, English speakers call this going blank. Your mind suddenly empties itself.
Or you might feel like a deer in headlights. You are just stuck, staring at the person, unable to speak.
That is the perfect phrase. You are simply stuck in the headlights.
Okay, but I have a practical objection.
I had a strong feeling you would.
Knowing my brain is trying to protect me is interesting. But how does that help when someone is waiting for an answer?
It changes your inner reaction. If you believe you are failing at English, you panic even more.
The panic creates more panic, which keeps the vocabulary completely locked away.
Precisely. If you realize it is just a normal physical reaction, you can begin to calm your nervous system down.
So the primary goal is not finding perfect grammar. The goal is telling your brain that you are safe.
Yes. Once your brain feels safe, the English you already know will naturally return.
That sounds nice in theory, but how do you actually create that safety in the middle of an uncomfortable conversation?
The first step is giving yourself permission to pause. Most people try to answer immediately.
Right. I was at a checkout counter last week. The cashier simply asked if I wanted my receipt in the bag or in my hand.
A completely normal everyday question.
Yes, but it caught me off guard. My brain panicked, I stared at her, and I just said, yes.
Yes to the bag or yes to your hand?
Exactly. It made no sense. She looked confused, so I grabbed my coffee and walked away. 2 minutes later, outside the store, my English was perfect again.
That is the classic pattern. You were caught off guard. That means you were surprised because you were not prepared for the situation.
So my brain saw the unexpected question as a threat, and I lost my words completely.
Precisely. If you had just paused for 3 seconds, your nervous system would have realized you were safe. You need to buy time.
Buy time. That means saying something to get a few extra seconds before you have to speak.
Yes, and English speakers do this constantly. People rarely answer instantly in real life.
That is a relief to hear. But silence feels extremely loud when a stranger is waiting for an answer.
It does. That is why you do not use empty silence. You use a spoken pause. A great sentence frame is simply saying, "Give me 1 second."
Give me 1 second. That is short, polite, and it fits almost any casual situation.
And it changes the feeling of the moment. You are no longer freezing in fear. You are actively choosing to think.
Oh, that is a big difference. It tells the other person you heard them, and it tells your brain there is no emergency.
It also stops that terrible feeling where you start a sentence without knowing how it will end. You can breathe first.
I hear that, but there is a realistic limit. You cannot pause for 10 seconds after every single question.
That is true. You cannot use a long pause for standard daily greetings.
Right. If someone says hello, and you answer, "Give me 1 second," the conversation becomes much worse.
That is a fair point. You do not want to pause for basic greetings.
Right. If I ask how you are, and you tell me to wait, I might walk away.
But basic greetings are automatic. The freezing happens when a conversation suddenly requires real thought.
The fear hits when you have to build a new sentence in real time.
Yes, and that reveals a major difference. Many people treat an English conversation like a memory test instead of a human connection.
You mean they are trying to remember the perfect grammar rule before speaking?
Precisely. When you treat it like a test, silence feels like a failure. You assume they are judging your English.
But in reality, they just want to know where the train station is.
That is the distinction. A memory test demands perfection. A human connection just requires shared meaning.
So if I point down the street and say, "Train 2 blocks," I pass the test.
Yes, that realization removes massive pressure. You can stop performing and start communicating.
But what if they ask a complex question, and you literally lack the vocabulary?
That is a realistic limitation. You cannot communicate a word you have never learned.
Right. A 3-second pause will not help me explain a legal contract.
True, but you still do not need to panic. You just need a phrase to manage the missing words.
So you admit you are missing a word, but you do it calmly.
Yes. Simply say, "I am not sure how to say this in English, but," and then use simpler words.
I am not sure how to say this in English, but...
It removes the awkward tension. The other person understands your hesitation, and they usually try to help.
You are no longer hiding a weakness. You are sharing a normal fact.
The fear loses its power when you name it out loud.
I like that. So we know how to buy time and handle missing words. How do we practice this in real life?
You need a reliable pattern for the moment panic hits. A practical tool is the reset routine. Pause, buffer, simplify.
Pause, buffer, simplify. Okay, how does that look in reality?
Let's use your checkout counter story. You are caught off guard. Step 1 is the pause.
So I literally just stop for a second instead of rushing to answer.
Exactly. It calms your nervous system. Step 2 is the buffer. You use a phrase to buy time.
Like saying, "Give me 1 second."
Yes, a buffer protects the space while your brain searches for vocabulary.
Okay, pause and buffer. What is step 3?
Simplify. Drop the complex grammar and use basic words to pass the human connection test.
So if she asks about my receipt, I just say, "In the bag, please."
Precisely. You did not go blank, and you communicated perfectly.
Let's try a professional meeting. What if someone asks a complex question?
That is higher pressure. But the routine works. How would you begin?
I take a breath. Then I buffer. I could say, "That is a great question. Let me think."
A perfect professional buffer. Now simplify.
This is where I fail. I try to sound impressive, build a huge sentence, and get lost.
Use the phrase we discussed earlier as a secondary buffer.
You mean, "I am not sure how to say this in English, but..."
Yes, then just state one simple truth.
So I say, "I am not sure how to say this, but the timeline looks short."
Brilliant. It is honest. And you avoided freezing like a deer in headlights.
I like how this removes the pressure. Let's practice. What is a good way to start right now?
Choose your favorite buffer phrase. Speak it out loud. Give me 1 second. Or, let me think.
Speaking it out loud builds the physical habit before you actually need it.
Exactly. It proves you have power over the speed of the conversation.
That feels much safer. We covered some great phrases today, so we should probably review them carefully.
Let us slow down for today's meaning moments. We mentioned some great phrases for when your mind stops.
I definitely need these. What is the first item?
Earlier, you talked about the cashier asking an unexpected question. You were caught off guard.
Right. To be caught off guard means you are surprised because you are not prepared.
Exactly. It usually happens when a conversation suddenly changes direction.
Like when a coworker asks a difficult question during a quiet meeting.
Yes, repeat. Caught off guard.
Caught off guard.
The next phrase describes what happens after that surprise. We called it going blank.
That is the terrible feeling when your vocabulary simply disappears.
Yes, your mind is a blank page. You can use it as a verb. For example, I went totally blank.
Or you could say, "I always go blank during interviews."
Perfect. Repeat. Going blank.
Going blank.
To fix that empty feeling, we introduce the concept of a buffer.
A buffer is a short phrase you say to buy time and calm down.
Precisely. It creates a safe space between the unexpected question and your answer.
So saying, "Let me think," acts as a buffer.
Yes, repeat. Buffer.
Buffer.
Now let us upgrade 2 common reactions in Say It Better.
I am ready. What is the first basic sentence?
When you need time, a common instinct is just saying, wait.
I have done that. It sounds a little aggressive, honestly.
It can. A softer version is, that is a good question. Give me 1 second.
That sounds much better. It praises the person while protecting your time.
Here is another situation. When you forget vocabulary, the basic sentence is, I do not know the word.
That makes the conversation feel like a complete failure.
Exactly. Try saying, I am not sure how to explain this, but, and then use simple words.
That keeps the door open. You are still communicating even with missing vocabulary.
It removes the pressure completely. Now it is time for a quick practice moment.
How does the listener practice this right now?
I will give you a situation. I want you to say your favorite buffer phrase out loud.
Okay, I will try it too.
Imagine a stranger asks you to explain a complicated train schedule. What do you say out loud right now?
Give me 1 second. Having that exact phrase ready honestly feels like a superpower.
So, the next time someone asks me for directions on the street,
Your brain will not automatically delete the entire English language.
exactly. I might still feel a little spike of surprise, but I know I do not have to answer instantly.
That is the biggest shift for me. Realizing that going blank is usually an emotional wall, not a vocabulary failure.
Yes. The social pressure makes a normal conversation feel like a strict memory test.
But in reality, people just want to connect. They are not grading your grammar.
And when that pressure hits, your new superpower is simply buying time.
Right. You pause, take a breath, and use a friendly buffer.
Then you just simplify your answer. You can even admit you are missing a word if you need to.
Honesty removes the awkwardness completely. So, what is one small step a person can try this week?
Practice pausing for just 2 seconds before answering a simple question, even in your native language. Get comfortable with the space.
I love that. You are proving that you control the speed of the interaction.
We would love to hear from you in the comments. What is your favorite short phrase to use when your mind goes blank?
Tell us your phrase down below. And if this conversation helped you feel a little more confident, please subscribe so you can keep practicing with us.
You can always find a calm space to practice right here at Everyday English Learning.
Learning a language is a long journey, but you already know enough to make a real connection today.
I'm Lily.
And I'm Jake.
Have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you soon.
Take a breath, trust the vocabulary you have, and we will see you next time.